Going live. Right, well, hello, and here we are again. It seems to be becoming a bit of a habit. Going live streaming onto Facebook shortly as well. So I've got the Facebook stream next to me, so I'll be able to see as soon as that pops up. It does come up quite quickly, starts live streaming. So it's normally a few people are on live stream. You'll be a few seconds behind us. And I'm on the right platform today, so I'm on Chrome. So hopefully we won't have my technical hitch. And I'd like to introduce you to my lovely guest today, Daniela Exley from Beats, Pulse and Time.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Hi.
In her beautiful house. And what's this lovely piece of art you've got behind you?
It's something we found in a car boot sale.
Oh.
It's like a little door thing. I'm not sure what it used to be. It's like a little...
It's lovely.
It's cute, isn't it?
I think we are, hopefully. Yes, we are now live streaming on Facebook, so that's good. That's what. Oh, hang on, we have to turn the volume off quickly, otherwise we get ourselves in double, which is never nice. Bad enough. So, little door that you found at a car boot sale. Is there something inside the door?
There is nothing inside the door, but I wonder if there would have been something behind the little doors at some point. Don't know where it's come from. Don't know.
It looks quite because you're Romanian, aren't you?
Yeah, yes, and it does
Romanian look, doesn't it?
It looks like it's come from somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, that's nice. Let's pick that.
Yeah, no, I love it, and it offers an enticement to something more, doesn't it? It's like enticing something more, and I feel that's quite an interesting kind of like analogy, because I feel that this time that we're experiencing now is an exciting moment of something more. What is going to be on the other side of this?
Indeed.
So many lovely things happening, some horrible things as well. But I think we have to decide what perspective we're going to take on it. And I have decided that my perspective is going to be positive. And I'm going to think about all of the amazing opportunities and all of the wonderful things that are happening as a result of us having to change the way we behave and change the way we live our lives. And I found just an amazing connectedness to people. They were saying about social distancing. Hi, Suzanne. But I don't feel socially distanced from anybody. Do you?
No, I don't, because there's so much. We are so incredibly lucky to be able to do things like this and actually connect. You know, we're connecting. So it's not really that it's social distancing. It's more the physical distancing. Missing giving people hugs.
Yeah, I'm missing that kind of like when you greet people and you go up and you give them a hug and a kiss, and we've become very much quite a society culturally to hug and touch and kiss everyone when we greeted them, which is probably why we're paying a massive price for that now. Yeah. But I don't feel socially distant. In fact, I feel socially so much closer. And in my journal, so I'm doing the Kent Creative Social Journal. I don't know whether you've seen that online.
No.
It's amazing art project that Natalie is running. She runs Kent Creatives, and she set up a Kent Creatives social journal, and that's on Facebook. So you can do a journal. You can start at any time. You don't have to have started on day one. You can start at any time. And I've been keeping a journal, and my journal, because I'm, a practitioner. I'm not okay, I am an artist. We're all artists, really. We're all creatives. But I don't, make art as my job anymore. So mine is very much more words and blessings. And what I've been keeping is a record of all the people I've been talking to every day.
That's lovely. That's so lovely.
So lovely to look back I looked back last night. I was writing who I'd spoken to over the weekend. And I looked back over the past weeks and I was like, wow. I've spoken to my auntie, so not always face to face, but on Messenger as well. So my aunt, my cousin who's having a baby in Holland, my aunt in Spain who's on full lockdown, Paul's godparents in Spain we spoke to on FaceTime over the weekend. We spoke to Paul's brother in New Jersey over FaceTime. And we do this, but we don't do it regularly. So now I hopefully will make a new good habit of regularly connecting with those people instead of just waiting for Christmas when you send them a Christmas card or a box of chocolates or something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that will trigger a good habit in me.
That's so good. I think lots of people have been doing this, really speaking to their extended families and their friends. And it's been so lovely, actually, just getting in touch with lots of different people and having really long chats and conversations. And yeah, no, I'm feeling very connected in that way as well.
What I really love as well is that because we're doing a lot of this visually, because we're so blessed with the access to technology, that you're seeing into little glimpses into people's homes and how they live. So when you see them on the street, you don't see that, do you? And when you're on the telephone, you don't see that. And when you send them a card, you don't. But by this lovely way of connecting that we have now, we're so lucky with the internet. Thank goodness that we can access this. You get these lovely little views. And I'm going to do, over the weeks, I'm going to do little interviews with artists in their studios, and people can have an insight. So we can't do open studios this year because obviously we're not allowed to go out, got to stay at home. So I'm going to do it online like this as part of the broadcast. Is I'm going to go into the studios and they can give us a little tour, and maybe they'll do a little, you know, if you'd like to buy something, if you still like to buy yourself a little treat, then, you know, contact me and they'll give their contact details. So that's something I've got planned for the future. But today, this particular talk today is about taking care of your mental health and well-being during this time. And I think our mental health, we're becoming much more aware of how to look after our mental health and how to care for ourselves. Self-care is something that we're all much more aware of now, I think. And when I'm dealing with one-to-one clients, a lot of times that comes up as their main goal, is I want to become more aware of myself. I want to grow my awareness of how to look after myself and how to grow, this word grow, as a human. But I think we can't deny the fact that we all have episodes of feeling anxious and depressed. And I think that's quite normal, that we all have those moments, because it's old stuff coming up and we have to see it and deal with it. But at a time like this, when we're in a pandemic and we're all at home, I think maybe, I know I have, it's a bit like grieving. I've had these waves of feeling very optimistic, which is the one I'm adopting as my mantra. But I have had waves of feeling very wobbly and very having a bad stomach, having really weird dreams. Really, I had a dream that the whole house burned down.
Oh, wow.
And around me. And I'm getting a bit tearful. You know, I had a couple of Saturdays ago, I was I felt very tearful. Sorry, that's my medicine. That's my chamomile tea.
Very good.
So yeah, a bit teary and overwhelmed by everything, and didn't really know what to do. I was still spending way too much time looking at Facebook and listening to the news at that point, and hadn't really got to grips with myself. And I think all of this, if anyone's still feeling this or they're feeling this episode, I think this is completely normal. It's completely normal in our everyday lives, but even more so normal. The normal is to have these ebbs and flows of positive and negative at this time, because we've become used to that word on the media about the herd immunity. But I think there is also a thing about herd anxiety as well. That anxiety during a pandemic can be almost as contagious as the virus itself, because we're exposing ourselves to the media and social media because we're at home and our routines have slightly gone awry. Mm-hmm. And we need to take charge of that and acknowledge it, not feel pressured by it, and say that's okay. It's okay to feel like this. So you're not going mad. You haven't lost your marbles. this is all normal. We all feel like this, and it ebbs and flows during the time. And there's a thing I've been talking to my clients about this, about the fact that we're living in these super anxious times. And I've spent years saying to my clients, it's okay. There's no saber-toothed tiger out there. You don't need to be prepared and ready and alert for the saber-toothed tiger. You can look for actions and not be leaving everything to your subconscious brain to be in charge. But actually, the virus is a bit like a saber-toothed tiger, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And I think in a lot of us, it's triggered that fight or flight mechanism, which is triggered by our amygdala. And you know about the amygdala. It's that very old thing behind the ear, very old mechanism in our brain that protects us from the saber-toothed tiger, but in our modern times, getting run over by a bus, walking in front of traffic, eating something poisonous. It's there to, you know, protect us, but it only has an on and off switch. And I think it triggers the sympathetic nerve, and we get all of these anxiety behaviors, which then are a bit like really bad habits. We start doing stuff that's really bad habits for us because we're reacting to that. So today I wanted to talk about how to trigger the antidote to that. And hopefully I've triggered that in myself, because now I'm decided very much I'm going to have a positive perspective and look at all the opportunities and all of the amazing things that could come out of this. So what's the antidote? How can you trigger your parasympathetic nerve? And there is quite a lot of things how you probably can't turn off completely your responses to it straight away. It will take a little while, but we can trigger this parasympathetic nerve. Now, I did do a little bit of research into the fight or flight, just to remind myself, because I did a lot of this during my masters, but that was like 5 years ago. And I forget. I'm a normal human and I forget stuff. So I was really, because I'm a researcher and I'm an academic and I love knowing stuff. So I reminded myself that the psychological reaction, this fight or flight, was first described by a guy called Walter Bradford Cannon. So anyone who's doing one of those pub quizzes after this, when we're allowed to go back to the pub and we're doing pub quizzes, remember Walter Bradford Cannon. It's like a special fact. He was the guy who first described, and I'm reading this because it's easier for me to remember, because when you're doing these broadcasts, you get a bit of an adrenaline rush and it kind of fogs your brain for all of the detail that you would normally remember quite easily. If I was sitting in a room chatting to someone, all of this would be completely fine and easy to remember. But because I've got a bit of an adrenaline surge, because we're broadcasting live to people and people are watching and listening, I've had that, flood my brain, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. So it's absolutely fine. I'm going to read some of that information so I know I've got it absolutely right. So the body's sympathetic nervous system is activated due to the sudden release of hormones or chemicals such as cortisol or adrenaline, a bit similar to what I'm experiencing now, that floods your brain and gives you brain fog. But it also makes your heartbeat quicken. And we've got someone in the background. Who have we got?
I've got my son popping his head around the book.
I thought it might be Ian coming in to join us. So that trigger makes your heartbeat go faster, it makes you breathe faster, and it can make your entire body tense up. So that's the fight or flight. So you can freeze as well in that process. So the parasympathetic nervous system acts like the brake. So if you can trigger that, it puts the brakes on and calms down all of that and helps you with the anxiety and all of the outcomes of that. So how can we trigger the parasympathetic nerve? And I think that's what taking care of our health and well-being during this time is really focused on, how to trigger that for ourselves all the time, and as a good habit. So there's lots of things. So the first thing I did was I gave myself an embargo on social media. So I'm still looking at social media, but I'm not looking at it all the time. And I am saying, right, I can look at it first thing in the morning for about 30 minutes to just check in and make sure everyone's okay and get any news. And then I'll do the same again in the evening, and that's it, I'm done. I'm not doing any more than that. Hi, Simon. So I'm not doing any more than that twice a day. And I'm actually at the moment not watching the news, although I am logged into Downing Street Live. And yesterday it did flip up on my phone that they were live broadcasting that Boris had been taken into intensive care, which I have to say immediately triggered my anxiety response. Because I was like, oh my goodness, you know, the person who's meant to be guiding us and leading us, whatever you think about that man is irrelevant right now. He's a human being. He has a family, he has children, he has a wife who's pregnant, has been taken into intensive care. That immediately triggered off all of those floods of anxieties again. So I was like, wow, you know, although I feel I've worked on this for a week and I've got myself into really good habits, it took nothing. It took literally a flash up on my phone to trigger all of that flood of anxiety and a bit weepy, a bit teary. And I've had a bit of a stomach upset today. So it shows that, you know, you've got to be aware of it, and you've got to be conscious and cognitive during this time, and be really, you know, looking after yourself. So other things you can do, and we do this a lot, and I'm trying to do this every day as well, is spend time in nature. Now, again, at the moment, we're allowed to. We're allowed to go outside and go for our daily walk within government guidelines, and we can stand under a tree. And standing under a tree, forest bathing is really great. And the Japanese are great advocates for this, because the trees drop down really good stuff that we can really benefit from. So even if you haven't got woods near you, most of us can go and find a tree to stand under, to let all of that goodness bathe down on us. And there's lots of science and research, if you've got time, to have a look at, and it's really worth it. JSTOR, JSTOR, which is the academic platform that you would use if you were doing a master's or a degree, a master's or a PhD, is now a free access to everyone. So you can get onto that research base and have a look at forest bathing, because it's a really all the Japanese research into the benefits of forest bathing. All you need to do is find a tree. And so I'm taking my youngest, Charlie, and the dog out, and we're very lucky. We live in the woods, so we go out virtually every day and have a walk through the woods, and it's definitely helping. Be nice to yourself. So I'm having a bath, getting completely immersing yourself in water, even if it's just a shower, actually, as well, is a really good thing for your mental health. Meditation. We talk about meditation. We had lovely Daniela chatting to us about the benefits of meditation in the last couple of weeks on the Wednesday live sessions. And as we said, the word meditation sounds like this massive thing, doesn't it? It's just breathing in and out. We do it all the time. Just go have another. Get quite a dry throat doing this. I think, again, it's the slight anxiety and the adrenaline makes you feel a bit dry. So breathing, and have breathe in and have a longer breath out if you possibly can. If you're doing the meditation, if you have the longer breath out, is the relaxation breath. And breathe deeply from your abdomen. I'll get that right in a minute. Breathe from your abdomen. And I'm sure Daniela will speak to us a bit more about this in a minute. If you are a spiritual person, or you have a faith, then doing a repetitive prayer is a really good thing for you. Something repetitive. And I like the Serenity Prayer. And what I'll do is I'll post some of these things up on Facebook afterwards, so you can have a look at it. And the Serenity Prayer is to accept that you just do what you can do, and don't focus on the stuff that you can't do, and be grateful for the things that you can do. And faith is a great thing right now. For those who have faith and have spirituality, it gives a lot of comfort. And I don't think we should underestimate that. And there's a lot of online, the Archbishop of Canterbury is doing a lot of online sermons. Now, he's not someone I would normally listen to in the everyday life. I wouldn't travel over to Canterbury and listen to him, but actually he's doing a lot of online sermons. And I know where I live in Battle, our wonderful Dean Lee is doing a lot of online broadcasting, and that gives comfort. And I'm quite a spiritual person. I wouldn't say I'm a traditionally religious person, but I'm spiritual. I have faith, and I'm finding that, and I know my mum has that, and she's found that, and she's an old, she's in her 80s, and she's found that very comforting and helps her keep herself calm. Speak to yourself as though you're your own best friend. Be kind to yourself. We get a lot of negative self-talk going on. And Vincent said to me earlier in the chat up here, he was saying he posted up his sketchbook because someone had told him to do it and to keep going now. And I said, that's great, but at no pressure. It's not homework. This is about doing things that are making you feel good and making you feel better. So don't put added pressure on yourself. This is not the time to put external pressure on yourself. This is not the time to start, as I've joked about on the Wednesdays, this is not the time for me to start a PhD. Mm-hmm. That is not a good, healthy response to this time. It's also not a good time to regress to our bad habits of, if we like a glass of wine or two, start drinking a bottle of wine. If we are someone who finds solace in eating chocolates, now don't start eating boxes and boxes of chocolates and biscuits. This is not the time for that, but it's also not the time to start a diet. Mm-hmm. You don't have the support within your body is already dealing with enough crisis. Do nice things, be kind to yourself, reframe the way you're talking to yourself. It's okay. You might be carrying a bit of extra weight now, and maybe just going out and standing in nature might help you position yourself so when this is past that you might decide now is the time. But now is not the time to start doing things that are super challenging. We're already challenged enough. So exercise, practice. If you are someone who does Tai Chi or yoga or Pilates or ballet, all of those things are online now. It's amazing. And I've always fancied doing a bit of ballet. So I had a little watch. I didn't do any. I haven't got a bar or any mirrors. But I used to dance a lot when I was younger. And so I've been watching it, and I might move towards doing a few moves at some point, but I'm not putting myself under any added pressure. Progressive relaxation. Is that something you've ever done, Daniela? Progressive relaxation?
No, I don't know what that is.
So when I was much younger, those people who know me well will know that my father had Parkinson's, and he was diagnosed when I was about 22. Another sip of the tea. He was diagnosed when I was about 21, 22. And it was an immense shock to me, and it caused me to have, I would describe as a nervous breakdown. And I had a very good employer who looked after me really well at that time, and they sent me for lots of therapies. And at that time, this was called relaxation therapy. And it's about how you breathe and you tense bits of your body. So you go around your body tensing and relaxing as you breathe. So you tense your feet. Now, if you've ever tried to tense your feet, it's quite a mental, yeah. And you start going through all bits of your body. So not just the external bits, but you tense your stomach, tense your thigh muscles, tense your calf muscles. And as you're doing it, you're breathing, and as you tense them and you breathe in, and then you relax them and you breathe out. And it's incredible. And I was taught how to do that. And that was the thing that saw me through the other side. And that is the thing that has secured my mental health and well-being for probably pretty much the rest of my life, because I was taught to do that. Bizarrely, underneath the arches of London Bridge, I went to see this therapist. I was living in Bexley Village at the time, and I would get on the train. I couldn't do anything else My whole life was turned upside down. I wasn't working. I was pretty much not functioning very well at all. And I would get on the train from Bexley and go to London Bridge and go under the arches at London Bridge where this lady would be practicing. She was quite young. And this was quite an innovative new therapy at the time. It was about 30 years ago. And she taught me how to do that. And I have found that. So you can now Google, they now call it progressive relaxation. And again, Google that, because I found that has been great. The other things, as we said at the beginning, the phone a friend. Phone a friend has been great. So keep getting really connected. So either Messenger or FaceTime. Zoom. I'm using Zoom a lot. Have you tried Zoom?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Zoom's great because you can schedule a meeting and then they can click on the link, and you don't have to be a member. You can just you can be the member and just send the links to everyone. And I find the platform much more stable than FaceTime. It doesn't wobble about, and it doesn't kind of come in and out a lot. As I say, change your perspective, change the way you look at things, because if you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change. So that's our bubble. Our bubble, what's in our bubble changes. And eat healthily. This is a great time to start a habit of eating healthily. And that's why I invited Daniela to come and talk to us today about what she's doing personally with her health and how she's eating. I made your lovely lemon and cashew energy balls last week, and I'm having, and they're my treat. They're my treat. So I have one a day. They're in the fridge, and I have one a day, and they're just such a lovely treat. I have it with my coffee. Although, crisis today, I've run out of oat milk. So I had to have almond milk, which I don't like anyway. And it's got like a bit of a, for me, it's got a bit of a nasty aftertaste. So I'm going to have to try. I rang Great Park Farm, but they don't seem to have any. It's all a bit of a cry, but I'll work that one out. So yeah, I made those last week, and we made courgette cake, which is lovely. So I've had a bit of that as well. So yeah, it'd be really nice if you could talk to us, because I think this is something that we're very focused on food, aren't we? We're very focused on shopping for food, getting food online, buying local. How can we access food? What if the food runs out? Food is a massive thing. And I think that could be one of the massive triggers for the anxiety. So it'd be really lovely for you to talk to us about your take on food and what you're doing. Because I've seen you've been making soups and things at home. And yeah.
Soups on the go all the time.
All the time.
Yeah,
you're accessing food, where you're getting your food from. That'd be really interesting.
Food sustain us it's our life force, isn't it? So I can see how that's causing anxiety and people not knowing where they're getting their food. Can they get food? So I am shopping at the local health food shop in Hastings, Trinity, who now you can place an order online with them and they box it up. So you don't even have to go in the shop. I already have an Abel and Cole box, which comes every Friday, which is great. So I get all my fresh fruit and veg. And then also Sainsbury's, I noticed they do a click and collect now. So again, you don't have to necessarily go into the shop. You can just pick it up in the car park, which has been good as well.
Doing that. I saw people doing it. I thought, what on earth is going on there? Because I had to go and pick up some medication, and I saw this. It was a delivery lorry in the car park, and then people were delivering it into the boots of their cars, which is great.
So I think what I've really enjoyed watching so far is how creative people are in changing their businesses and coming up with solutions. I think as humans, we are incredibly adaptive. We're able to adapt really well to situations, and we mustn't forget that. I think our adaptive nature is an amazing strength that we have.
I came up with a word the other day, pliancy. So I write down in my diary, in my journal, there's all my words of the people I've spoken to. And one of the words, my word for the day last Wednesday was pliancy.
Oh,
which means flexible and adaptable, because that was the day I'd done my live broadcast and it hadn't quite gone according to plan. We had a little few technical hitches. But I just, powered on through. I was like, it's okay. We're all very new to this. And I was amazed by my resilience to it, actually. Bearing in mind, it's taken some deep digging, because I hate even having my photograph taken. So sitting here having to look at myself on the screen, I'm trying not to. I'm trying to look at the green light. I'm doing as they do on all the best TV programs. Yes, so Sainsbury's doing click and collect.
So all those different places I'm shopping in, and the best thing is that I'm reinstating my garden veg beds, which I'm very lucky to have a garden to be able to dig around in and recreate my veg beds, which I've ignored for the last few years. When I got diagnosed with arthritis, I stopped gardening, and it's been a great shame, but I feel great now.
How is your arthritis now?
I feel really good. I mean, all the supplements I'm taking and eating healthily, and I feel really good. And even with the digging, I'm okay. So it's
isn't it funny? My husband has had very bad knees for years, and he's had operations on his knees, and he's been at home sleeping properly. He has been unwell. His asthma has been very bad, but it's, touch wood, we're now on the other side of that, I hope. But he said, he's sleeping properly, 8 hours a night, and for him that's, 5 hours was normal.
Wow.
So he's sleeping properly and he's eating properly, because he's eating what I'm feeding him, not what he can grab from some sort of sandwich bar in the city. And he said yesterday, my goodness, my knees have never felt so good.
That's great.
How terrible we are, how badly, we need this physical body.
Yeah.
And yet we treat it so badly. And I was speaking to Susanna, who I know is watching. Hi, Susanna. And Susanna Oral, who does lots of marketing with me. And she's working on the Pure Book for Life at the moment. And she was saying she has been working, she's been working on her veggie bed at the back of her house. And she was having me in stitches this morning, because she said she's been digging away and she found a deck chair, an entire
Nice one.
and a part of a lawnmower. I was like, archaeology, this is not, but it's social history.
That's so funny.
So you've been working on your vegetable bed.
Oh yeah, veg beds are reinstated. I've got seedlings happening. It's very exciting. I'm finding it very exciting, and it feels like we've been given permission to really slow down and really consider all these things again, where our food comes from. It's such an important thing that we haven't, although we've been saying it, have we actually been acting on it?
I totally agree. I've read all the stuff about, slow working and, being cognitive and thinking where you're buying your food, and the food miles. And we all know all of these sayings, don't we? Food miles, sustainability. But how many of us can hand on heart say, oh yeah, but I was doing it? I was like, oh, that's for someone else.
Not even that. I think it's just that we just became so accustomed to everything being so easily accessible and so there all the time that we just took everything for granted. And I think that's another big thing that's coming up for me a lot is gratitude. Again, it's something that we've been talking about a lot, but actually how grateful were we for everything that we had in our lives?
I know. I look at some of the things that I've written down as my gratitudes, and they are just the most basic things. So I've been in my diary again. I've been keeping gratitude, so that's on this top bit up here, and there's some recurring themes like friends, confidence, fresh air, dog walking, baking. There was gin and tonic on there, but I wasn't going to tell you. Hot cross bun. pets, children, family battle. I'm so grateful to live here, especially now. So grateful for that. It kind of comes up every day. Friends again, sunshine, my boys being healthy, my daughter is happy in her life. I know, Christy, if you watch this, that the job can be quite trying sometimes, but I know you're generally happy, and you'll be really happy at the end of the week when you get your Easter gift. Energy. I'm very grateful for energy. So the very fundamental things, awareness, technology comes up quite a lot on my gratitude. Birds. So I was listening to a woodpecker this morning in the garden. And again, we say about gratitude, and I remember when I was a child, my mum would always say, count your blessings. Count your blessings, young lady. And I know it's something I should do, but I hadn't actually done it systematically until now.
Or it's been just kind of something that we thought about rather than actually feeling it.
Yeah.
You know, it's that actually feeling into something that that does create that switch between the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system when we actually feel into something rather than just a thought process.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have such a myriad of feelings, but we only have names for like a handful of feelings. And I think, you know, as a society, when I'm working with my clients one-to-one, I always say, so how does that feel? And they look at me like, oh my goodness, she's asked me like that really difficult A-level question. And I don't know what to say. Well, can you feel it in your body? Whereabouts is it? You know, so breathe into it. Where is it located in your body? Is it light? Is it heavy? Does it feel warm? Does it feel cold? You know, and they're like, wow, I've never kind of thought about my feelings in a structured way like that.
I think because also we're quite used to not allowing ourselves to feel. So, for example, when I take people on retreat, I feel like this is almost like a retreat.
Yeah.
We are in a retreat for ourselves. And often when I do take people on retreats, a lot of feelings come up when you are in this kind of isolation in a retreat sense. Feelings do come up, and it's good to feel those feelings, and then you're able to move beyond them. So, yeah, lots of feelings have been coming up for me, the anxiety and the worries and all sorts, but switching it back to the gratitude. And actually, we've been really just so grateful for the food on our plates every day, you know, just properly being grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just having food.
Just having food. We are so incredibly lucky and privileged to have everything that we have available to us.
I know we're worrying about whether we can get an Ocado delivery or a Sainsbury's click and collect, and yet this is a pandemic, which means it's going on globally. And you know there's still third world countries still suffering from famine and war, and I think we need to remind ourselves of that we're incredible. We might have to stay at home, which is absolutely imperative that we stay at home. Otherwise, this will go on for much longer than is necessary, and the outcomes on people's businesses, which I don't think we can underestimate, will be catastrophic. We need to, enjoy it for the short time, but appreciate that we need to minimize it. But there are people who are suffering in other countries who haven't got any possibility of, they wouldn't even know what we were talking about if we said, to go to a shop, let alone have it delivered in a van by a man. And, Yemen is still the most I'm trying to come up with the right word here to not be rude or dismissive. It's the most backward country with the people suffering the most, and that won't have changed. So how can we think about this time and send our positive energy out to those people as well, and the people who are suffering from domestic abuse and having to sit in a room with those people who they least want to be with right now.
Yeah, and it is good to feel those feelings and have that, but at the same time, I think we need
to balance.
we need to come back and not get dragged into, not allow our emotions to get dragged into negativity. I think, like you were saying earlier about focusing on all the positives that will come out of this.
Yeah.
As a collective, I think that's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, I am. As I said, I've decided my mindset is going to be positive, and my mindset is, and my perspective is going to be look at all the amazing opportunities, and that positive energy. If we all do that, if we all put that positive energy out, as you say, that can have energy. I have Reiki healing. I'm sure you do Reiki as well, don't you? Yeah. And the energy in that is transformative in my life. And I've only been having Reiki. Lovely Nikki Weatherall. I think Nikki was watching earlier. I don't know whether she's watching now. And Nadine Searle both have given me Reiki. And I find it has transformed the way I can look at things. It's given me I was talking about this last week as well, on Wednesday. We have our knowns, don't we? And then we have our known unknowns. And then there's this other stuff. All of the Reiki is working in the other stuff. And I'm happy to leave it there, just working for me without me having to understand it. And that's how I feel this energy is happening now. I'm having a positive perspective. It's happening out in that other stuff. I don't need to understand it. I don't need to put a label on it or try and come with some logic to it. It's just happening out there.
Yeah. The other thing I've been thinking a lot about is about how our own health has been reflected in the health of the planet. So we are organisms, but the planet itself is an organism as well. And the health of we've been pretty unhealthy as a society in many ways for a long time. And I think it's reflected in the planet's health. So I think as well, it's a good time now. The planet has this time to recover, and we do as well, symbiotically together. I think it's I've been thinking about
hand in hand, aren't we?
Yeah, hand in hand. Yeah, definitely. So, everything, as far as I'm concerned, of human health, it comes back to the gut. So much of it comes to our gut, to our microbiome, to looking after that, because it's our immune system. 70% of our immune system as well is in our gut. So we do have a way of defending ourselves through our innate immune system. This is the first line of defense. So, looking after the gut is so important, as always.
Yeah, and so what specific things would you suggest right now? Because I know when we had a chat about this last year, didn't we, at one of the workshops, and you suggested the Thrive.
The probiotics,
yeah, that you can put into your food and cook with and everything.
So the spore-based probiotics, they actually get into the gut, and they are able to colonize there, whereas a lot of other probiotics will get killed along the way through our stomach and not actually make it, or very, very few will make it into the gut where they're meant to be. So yes, I've had the whole family on probiotics.
So this Thrive one, is there any other? So Thrive is one.
There's another company called Megaspore.
Okay.
Who also do the spore-based probiotics.
So spore-based probiotics is what people are looking for.
Yeah, definitely.
I cannot tell you how transformative that has been to my digestive system. And I have a very compromised digestive system. But they have, and I'm very vulnerable to, as I say, this morning I've got a bit of an upset stomach. And I know that is a direct reaction to the anxiety kicking in last night.
Exactly. Because we have this, with the vagus nerve connects the brain to the gut. So if we are living through this anxiety and fear, it is going to compromise our gut. And that's where our immunity is. So if we're really wanting to keep our organisms in good health, working on that anxiety is so important, and taking it into a positive perspective, thinking about the planet, healing, thinking about how beautiful communities are coming together, and all the beauty around.
I've signed up for the there's a group called Project 5 that are doing coaching wellbeing practitioners supporting NHS workers, and I've signed up for that to do 4 hours a week, and that for me feels such a the right thing to do.
Amazing.
And it's all pulled together to do what we can at this time. And if anyone is interested, if there's any practitioners out there, you have to be insured, obviously. You have to have some sort of certification. So I have my NLP certification and my master's degree, but you have to have, some sort of coaching or NLP practitioner status. But you can sign up, and it's going to be offered to all NHS workers. And at the moment, I got an email this morning saying they've got 1,000 people, although 4,000 people registered. So they're still requiring quite a lot more, because obviously they want to cover the whole country.
That's amazing.
The NHS workers can, get home off of a shift and go onto this system and go, I need to speak to someone now. I need to speak to someone who will just listen to me.
That's amazing.
So yeah, that if anyone wants that, just drop me a message on Facebook or private message me, and I'll send you the link to, I have the email link that you can, they'll look at your status, and then if you're the right person, then they'll onboard you onto the system. So yeah, I think that community action is great. And that's something that's amazing that's come out of this, is people caring for their neighbour, don't they? We had all those years about love thy neighbour, but we weren't talking to our neighbours. And now I'm shopping for my neighbour. I know intimately what she eats every week.
It's beautiful. I really think it's beautiful. And I think when we bring our focus to those things, then we are calming down the vagus nerve. We're calming down that, the sympathetic nervous system. We calm it down, and we come into our immediate surroundings and what's going on with our neighbours, with our food, and that can just calm down the nervous system, and it's beautiful.
Yes, because as I say, someone who's suffered with that, and I think it probably was triggered in those early days. I definitely had problems as a child, but it got much worse when I had this episode with my father being so ill. And I think it became a habit in my body. And so it's taken me a long time to kind of get back in charge of that. But now I have awareness. I know what's happening. So when it happens, I'm not worried by it, because
you can recover.
Yeah. So when it used to happen, I'd be like, oh my goodness, now what's wrong with me? But oh, sorry, the dog's dreaming. Can you hear him? Teddy. He's having a little bit of a dream right by my feet. But now I know what's happening, and it doesn't make me anxious. So I knew that there was a problem this morning, and I was like, oh, it's okay. It's because you had this anxiety over what's happening yesterday. Charlie's just come in to stroke Ted and give him some reassurance, so hopefully he won't have anxiety. But yeah, so what specific foods have you been making? I know you said you've got soup on the go all the time.
I've got lots of soups on the go, because I'm sort of cooking up lots of veggie things, and then we'll eat some, and then I'll freeze some. So I have
blessed the freezers.
Yes, blessing. Yes, definitely. I've made a few green ones. A really good green one I made was broccoli, and then any kind of greens like kale or spinach or any greens that you've got in, and frozen peas.
And what kind of, because I do mine with, I've got like a vegetable stock. What kind of base do you use?
I use a callo.
Callo, yeah, that's what I use, yeah.
Yeah.
So I use callo for rice cakes and corn cakes, and they do all sorts of.
That's the one. Yeah, I use them. Blend it all up. So that's a really, really good green one. And then I make one with like lentils and sweet potatoes. You can add some white potatoes, carrots, and that's like a really stodgy one. And squeeze of lemon juice right at the end. That's a really tasty one.
Oh, I haven't done that.
It's really good. I think I'm making that today, actually, so I can share the recipe if anyone.
That'd be lovely if you can share the recipe with us. That'd be lovely.
So my kids are funny about lumpy soups, so I like blend some of it and give it to them.
Funny about lumpy soups.
I like mine to be chunky, so I kind of, but it's easy to do both.
Yeah.
And then we've been having smoothies, so lots of berries, again, just stocked up on frozen berries, really high in antioxidants, really high in vitamin C, just all the things that support our immune system.
And then we can't not say, what about cake?
Oh, cake, yes, I've been baking.
Because that is a massive trigger, as well as gin and tonic, only a tiny one.
So I've made
triggers the parasympathetic nerve as well.
I made a vegan banana bread 2 days ago because I couldn't get any eggs.
Right.
So that was really good.
And was that tasty? Because Christy, my daughter, has been practicing making vegan banana bread in Manchester, so that when she eventually can come home, she can make it for me. And she said she really liked it, but her boyfriend Rory was not so keen. He wanted the normal one.
I know, it was really good. I shared that recipe.
Share that recipe with us as well.
I popped it on Instagram a couple of good days ago, but I can share that with you as well. That was really good. And what's the other thing I made? Oh, I made like an apple cake, just because I had lots of apples in the fruit bowl that were going a bit soft. So it's lots of grated apple, ground almonds, eggs in that one. I did have eggs at that point.
Yeah, eggs are rare now. Eggs, flour, and yeast. Although I did find somewhere that had all those things the other day. Seem to be the things that were chickens. Again, Suzanne and I were chatting this morning, and she's definitely thinking of getting some chickens.
If you've got the space, wow, amazing.
Yeah, and I thought a goat.
Yeah, I love goat.
I'm gonna go mad and do something silly, so I'm gonna get a goat. Apple cake making me hungry. I know. Sorry, Vincent.
So
it's great because you can make these things, and as you say, you can make them with the things that are just starting to go on the turn, so there's no waste.
Yeah, definitely. And again with the banana bread, that was why, because I had some bananas that were going a bit brown. So it's just, I am getting so into complete zero food waste as well, which is so important. And again, it's another thing that we've been talking about for so long, but are we actually practicing it in our daily lives? And I think this gives us a really good opportunity to focus on those things and really do practice those things.
Yeah. Now, because I was thinking this morning, they Rother put out a general email update, and they're still doing bin collections.
Yeah.
But if the poor bin men get ill, which is, they're highly vulnerable, touching all those bins and, from all the different families, we're really going to have to think about that, aren't we? How can we minimize our waste? And I'm shopping very carefully, trying to not overshop, trying to just buy enough for the week, and then thinking about the meals, planning ahead of time.
Yeah.
I still want to have my baking cupboard stocked, as say, with almond flour and coconut flour. My husband's allergic to nuts, so if I make things for him, it has to have coconut flour in, which is quite heavy. It's quite a heavy flour.
It is quite a heavy flour. Yeah, that's quite a tricky one.
It is, yeah.
Gluten-free, that's quite a tricky one.
Yeah, because I'm all gluten-free and pretty much vegan. So someone's saying here, our bin man driver that collects our garden waste was ill with coronavirus, so no collections for a while. Yes, exactly. So I love that idea about using, I saw this on, again, in my 30 minutes on Facebook. I saw people were using carrot tops and beetroot tops and potato peelings to grow vegetables.
Oh, fantastic.
Putting them in trays in some water, and then you just put the carrot tops and the beetroot tops, etc., in the tray, just the tops sliced, and then they were resprouting. And then as soon as they start sprouting, put them in the ground.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I didn't know you could do that.
No, I didn't know you could do that. I've seen people.
That is not fake news now, and someone's going to say to me, "That's fake news, Leslie. You can't do it," because I've actually got some. I've got some in a tray.
I know.
In a few days, if they. Oh, it works. Suzanne tells me it definitely works. Good.
Right.
I'm hoping I hadn't been sucked in on fake news there, and I've got a tray full of carrot tops because carrots. We go through a lot of carrots in this, and parsnips.
Yeah, great. That's really good. And yeah, I saved. I had an avocado. I saved the pips. So I'm growing a plant from that. That's.
Are you?
Yeah.
So how did you do that? How did you?
You kind of have to suspend it above water, so half of it is in water, half of it's out of water, and it grows a root. And
so the kind of the water attracts it to.
It grows a root down, and the plant comes up, and then you can pot it.
Right, I'm going to have a go at that then, because I eat at least one avocado every day, and it's because it's good for my hair and nails and and skin, collagen, and all of that kind of stuff. And so yeah, I'm going to have literally an avocado bed going on.
Great,
put them all. Come to me for avocados. And if Caroline's watching, Jeff, I'm going to have some avocados for you soon. So my friend Caroline, her husband Jeff, runs a factory where they do all the processing. I don't know what's happening with that at the moment for avocados, giving them a longer life. So it's a pressure. Yeah, don't ask me. It's technical, but it's something to do with pressure, and so it gives things a longer life. So he does that for avocados. I don't know how that's happening at the moment. He works for people like Pret a Manger and people like that. I'm not sure what's happening with that now. But if you need avocados, Jeff, I might be your woman. So Daniela has frozen on us. Hopefully she's going to unfreeze in a minute. But we are coming to the end of our time today. Oh, I can see she's moving on another screen. But on my screen, she's slightly frozen now. So that's been really interesting. So just to sum up then, so some of the things that you can do to look after yourself and at this time is very much those things about triggering the parasympathetic nerve. And we're not disturbed by things. We're disturbed by the view we take on things. And that's what we've been talking about today, is about taking perspective. I'm hoping that Daniela might come back just long enough to say goodbye, but if she doesn't, it's been fabulous, Daniela. Thank you so much. Really love listening to everything. No, she's going to hopefully reconnect with us in a moment. And we always have a little technical hitch. It's kind of our thing. Yes. Enjoy your gardens, and we're always around. Tomorrow we are going to be doing our normal live session. So we'll do our normal live session tomorrow at 1. Hopefully lots of you can join us, and that's just a general chat about how our creative community are feeling and how we're coping. I'll invite lots of you on screen, so as many of you as possible come into Crowdcast. You will have received your email invitations if you're a Pure member, but if not, then have a look. Watch us live on Facebook Live. It'll be live streaming, and I think sometimes the connection goes down, which is why, because at lunchtime, that's when America comes online, I think. So thank you so much, Daniela, for joining us today. And what we'll do is we'll put all of Daniela's details up on the Pure Facebook page, and we'll share them, and we'll put some recipes up on our Pure Facebook and in our blog on our website as well. We'll put up some of Daniela's recipes, and we'll put up about her Romanian retreat in September. Hopefully that's still going on. And we'll put up about her lovely, she does a 28-day cleanse, but I think she might have changed that slightly, but we'll put some information about that on Facebook and on our website on our blog. So go onto our website and have a look at that. It says read, and when you go on there you can read what we're doing. So, and Caroline Winter is now watching. Hi Caroline. And I was just talking about you and Jeff, and come to me for avocados because Daniela's just told me how to grow them. So bye for now, and hopefully you found all of that helpful. And as I say, go to the blog on the website and to the Facebook page, and we'll post up some of those resources for you. See you all tomorrow. Been lovely sharing that time with Daniela, and thank you so much, Daniela, and speak to you all tomorrow. Bye.